part as we do some fancy camera work. Right. Like, I don't know. Music lessons are one of the places that you get one of these 5 slots. Sure. But very on brand. That's what I would expect. But I don't know. I say kudos to Montgomery. Right. I don't know. It'd be nice not to have to drive to grab a sandwich, right? Here's a nice anti-zoning thing. I don't know. Would you be against that type of zoning? Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know what the powerful minds that be are for or against. But again, right? Like who wouldn't? Like this is not this is not an overly developed thing, right? Those are literally single. There's two floors, 2 stories, 2-story buildings, right? And yet, like your kids can actually walk to that, right? Like your kids could. I just suppose there's like some like supervision laws or whatever, but like your teenager could walk to your music lesson. You don't have to. And it's like, wow, how much easier could contemporary, like middle to upper class parenting be if kids could be a little more autonomous, if you didn't have to drive your kids everywhere, and your kids could actually walk to the music event or whatever, right? That would actually make your existence as a parent much easier. And yet, like, you choose, like, for whatever reason, that is not how parenting is set up. I don't know. It's like, if you actually want pro-natal policy, I think it's somewhat clear at this point that you can't just chuck dollars at it. You actually need something that's a bit more substantive and holistic. I think one of the most obvious things, excuse me, one of the most obvious things to try to fix some of that is just holistically changing things that make the lives of parents tougher. Another anti-zoning thing. Again, I probably pay a bit more attention than I should to Montgomery County zoning stuff, but I can't imagine that the new zoning laws are going to be that impressive. I sincerely can't. I'd be very surprising if it was. I don't know. It is funny. It's like you complain about traffic, and it's like, well, I think a lot of traffic's because it's all just single family, where everybody has a car, you know? And if all single family, where everybody has a car, then naturally, right, you're gonna have more traffic. Like the solution to traffic is more cars, therefore more density probably fixes that. But I don't know. If what got you here hasn't solved the issue, then why would doubling down? It is funny. It is funny. Like the thought pattern to be anti-density. It's like there's too much traffic as it is today when it's all single family housing. So therefore, changing the prior, which caused the current issue, will worsen the issue and not fix it. Like, is it the fact that everything is car dependent? That's cool. That's a nice little. That's very private. Kudos to that guy. Taking photos just because on Google Photos there's like a heat map of where you've been and not been, and so I like building up the heat map. But yeah, back to my prior point. It's like I don't think the opposition to density, I don't think it comes from a first principles perspective type of way. You know, I think it comes from a much more cynical type of way, where it's literally just like personal incentive and like, you know, and again, there's nothing wrong with having incentives that differ from the. Yeah, look, another anti-zoning thing. It's like, I don't think any of the density that's going to occur is going to happen here. You know? If anything, traffic is worse when people from Gaithersburg or whatever have to drive in. Right? And again, I think, like, back to the Lockheed Martin point, I don't... You know, frankly, it's very obvious, right, that I'm certainly not the barometer of moral... I'm not a paragon of virtuosity, right? I own tobacco stocks. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I own British American tobacco, an Indonesian tobacco company, Japanese tobacco company. Like, I don't know. And that's kind of the triumvirate right there. I suppose I don't own a China cigarette, right? I will say, again, bouncing all over the place, but not owning Philip Morris and instead owning British American tobacco. Of course, both things have worked out, but I saw the guy in front of me popping his in. I was like, huh, maybe that would have been nice. A different life. It's the point where, like, so I'm not being judgmental. Certainly, not even to Peter Thiel from my rant yesterday. As much, again, his security guard is, marginally infringing upon civil liberties and all that, or making it, I don't know, hostile to anybody who doesn't seem like they should belong in that neighborhood. I don't know. Maybe vaguely something profiling or whatever. But again, right, like, you do your job and get your bonus, get your pat on the back of the private security company. Cool. Right? So like, I can accept all different views, because I certainly have views that I don't, I certainly, I'm not married to any of my views for the most part. I tend to think that I do have some moral backbone, I suppose. I do think killing kids is probably, I don't know. I hope I can go my existence without ever being complicit in something like that. But beyond, like, but that's a very, I suppose in practice, it's not, there is actually some politics to that statement. Or it's, by saying that these days, like, you're making more of a statement than you otherwise would have. But let's take a pause, make sure we're going the right way. Crap. Oh, we passed it. Damn. Yeah, we passed it. Fuck. Underwood Street. Underwood. Yeah, now I'm getting hungry. So now I'm gonna pick up the pace. Cause, like, now I'm here. Like, I can't not finish the triumvirate. Kavanaugh and John Roberts. Again, I'm not even sure about the Roberts thing. Again, I only did one thing of Googling. But the prior point, so I can accept a lot of different views. I can accept views that are wholly self-interested, But I like honesty. I like integrity. I think it's honest and high integrity to just admit that your incentives are wholly self-motivated or selfish or coming out of a certain position that you just have for like a personal reason, but it's not like a first principles reason. It's like, well, I support increased militarism and arms sales to countries with bad governance because I am Lockheed Martin CEO, and that is what is good for my total shareholder return and delivering upon my objectives and keeping my workers employed. And it's like, okay, that is perfectly legitimate. I understand where the argument's coming from, and you're honest about it, and therefore I respect the honesty, and we're cool, you know? But if you say, well, I support more arms shipments to countries of questionable governance because of improving human rights, and here's our sponsorship of the LGBT parade, then it's like, do I think you're honest and high integrity when you say that? Or do I think you're a bit disingenuous about it? Right? You know, like that's like a very simplistic example. Or just like, I don't know, it's like, if it's a double negative, I'll take it. Like, you're saying something I don't like, but you're being honest about it. I respect that. I might not like it. I respect that. It's like if you're talking to a scammer. It's like if a scammer was upfront, like, bro, I'm just trying to like scam you. Send your crypto to this wallet. I'm like, I don't like it. I'm not gonna do it. But I respect it. I respect what you're doing. I don't know. I just find that more respectable. You know, it's like, if it's a single negative, I don't know. I find that kind of disingenuous. If it's a double negative, oh, it's totally a positive sign, right? And therefore, it's a good thing. So, this is my view. Again, me and my moral primacy. Underwood Street on the left side. Let's go. Again, it is nice how quiet it is. Just given how many cars there are, like, it's not like July 4th for everybody, you know, gets out. So, here's a nice thing. Show off the Sampdoria fit, right? Like, what a badge. What a fit. What a color scheme. Oh, okay. That explains a lot, actually. That makes a lot of sense. So here we have Chevy Chasers for choice. Well, let's get to the right place, first of all. That explains the signs. Of course, Supreme Court, there's some ruling, like Dobbs or something, that overturned Roe v. Wade or something. And I think Kavanaugh voted for repealing it. So, I do like a nice street sign. It is fun. That is actually an underrated thing to do in the DMV. Is like just to walk around like these type of neighborhoods. Like, you're not gonna walk around like downtown DC or like outside Noma an apartment building and see the things. But if you're walking around like the suburb parts of DC, you can just see random combinations of what street signs people have. And so it's just like interesting because like clearly if you're posting something outside your lawn, like you're clearly like it means something. And again, respect. Say what you mean. As Scorsese or somebody said. But so I do suppose I'm a bit judgmental when it comes to this, mainly because I'm clearly just a coward cynic, just cowers behind my my lack of politics. I have politics, but I just hide behind my it's all loosely held gimmick and call it a day. which is again, frankly, like, I don't know, perfectly legitimate and honest. So I think this is the place. I think so. This house, I'm not sure. I think so. Again, like, it's the fact that Google Maps like blocks it out. That Google Maps blocks it out. That's kind of the amusing part. Because it's like, same with like, I just was like something like Area 51. Like that is the joke, where it's not blocked out or whatever. Like that is the joke, or it is blocked out, but it's a bit. Greek flag. There's a couple Greek flags for some reason. That is one thing. Like, out of all the flags you see in the area, I have actually noticed the Greek flag a disproportionate amount of the time. And I think it's only like 3, but it's just noticeable. It's not like the Greek diaspora is like a big thing. You know what I mean? Some more anti-zoning thing. I don't think we're here to bulldoze these lots. Again, here's like what I'm talking about. The statues in the corner. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, actually, that is a pretty nice setup. But tis is the point. But yeah. So, but again, like, that is where I suppose by definition a Supreme Court person probably ends up in the top 10 most important people, just by virtue of existing. And actually, now I think about it, I can see how a protest would be kind of annoying if you live in the area, because it is actually a very small street. So I can certainly see how traffic gets blocked up. But I just suppose that's the point of a protest. If it's not inconveniencing anybody, then why would you care? That's Kavanaugh. But yeah, again, like that's like a very, and actually from again, so like I just like that one SNL skit about Kavanaugh and like the beer, like the confirmation hearing bit. Okay, it's actually pretty funny. Like I do like to dunk on SNL. I don't know. Again, easy contrarianism is my favorite type of contrarianism. But who lives in that house? I imagine that's a horrible pain to get out of. But it looks nice. Oh, okay, I bet. But I do think one thing that like you've heard in the hearings, like Brett Kavanaugh has daughters. So I'm not sure, again, I should be a bit more confident. Maybe for John Roberts, I'll proudly hold the camera up. But I think you saw that Wait, how do I get across? I don't really want the jaywalk. But you saw how, or you might have saw on his car, he has, like, there was like, the graduation writing on his car. And he has daughters. So I do think, like, yeah, probably does have a daughter, doesn't he? I guess today we're gonna film, guys, how to navigate a DMV crosswalk that doesn't have any traffic gearing or any of that. We'll see how it goes. I guess we'll have it on camera, but I suppose it's not a clean test. But we make do as we can, I say. Oh, I forgot I should go for it. Yeah. I should have gone for it. But what can you do? What can you do? But again, right, there's literally zero traffic gearing at this thing. Right, like traffic gearing is like, if it's a straight shot, people drive faster. If lanes are wider, people drive faster. Right? Like it's as simple as that. Right? It's like, here's like a straight shot. Like people are gonna drive fast, right? Like that guy, Right, so it's a straight shot. If it's a straight shot, people drive fast. If it's wide lanes, people drive fast, right? Like New York City has these 3x3 roads, or I guess all going in one direction, so it's not the same, right? But New York City, things are like, it's tighter, So naturally, you're gonna slow down, and the speed is the biggest determinant of if an accident is dangerous or fatal. I don't know. Feels kind of bad. There's a church. I always debate if churches are actually that interesting to take pictures of. Like the National Cathedral, I get. This church, whatever churches in general, not as sure. Okay, so we're gonna hug this until next exit. So I just suppose again, like this is where some of the most affluent people in the country exist, and the most affluent people in the country choose to exist in a 3x3, right? 3x3 over here. Fascinating what inertia and revealed preferences gets you to. Incredible. Yeah, so it's very charming. So, again, like pour one out for Cincinnati, bro. Pour one out. But clearly, this is the setup. And again, no judgment. Maybe, I don't know. I just can't imagine, like, you live in, like, that house right there, and, like, you have to pull out. I don't know. Seems kind of tough. Seems more complicated than it should be to navigate and to enjoy. Like, especially if you're delivering the paper. Like, presumably you have to slow down a decent amount to, like, whack it out the window, right? I don't know. It's probably some pissed off driver behind you. It is fun. Again, it's just like you can see like revealed preferences very easily, or it's always fun when you get to see revealed preferences manifest themselves. And a lot of things, right? Like it's very hard to see revealed preferences. I read this online on Red Scarepod, and I can't, like, it clicks. And so to my point about it's hard to see revealed preferences at times. Oh, there's a green flag. to that point about it's hard to see reveal preferences. It's like, so the guy's point was like, well, let me save the point for a less busy Strode. Though I guess this can't be a Strode if there is no business, because it's all single family. Let's get into a nice character neighborhood. Okay, I think I'm on track. I do like the random benches, but the guy's point was like, again, I don't know if you call it a sexist, but I found it to be interesting. I'd be open to what the male parallel is, but his point was like, attractive girls want to be known for their intellect, and he points to Emily Ratajkowski's like Vogue 73 Questions type thing. I suppose you could say the same thing for like Dua Lipa's podcast and stuff like that, right? And on the other hand, you have like intelligent women who want to be known for their appearance, or like valued for their appearance. And he points to like the Instagrams of any PhD grad student or something like that. And it was funny because presumably like what you want to be valued for varies, but that is a real preference, right? Would this be it? I hate going on side tangents, but there are security cameras. But there are security cameras, which I do suppose is a tell in general, right? If you have these things, like it is, like, I don't know, you're either an apartment building or you're some schmuck who kinda matters. If you have a security camera, they're like, well, pick which one you want. Flip a coin. And it's like, well, I don't think that's an apartment building. But no idea who resides there. But again, right, we just passed and saw something. Helicopter. Back to the point about real preferences. It's like, well, I can't really see the attractive person who reads a lot of Jean-Paul Sartre, right? Because that's just not easy to see. I can see the Instagram of a PhD student, and I can kind of connect the dots that way. So it is fun to see the revealed preferences manifest themselves. That's very cozy, right? Like here, you could probably walk your kids to school, or have your kids walk to school. And again, like you hear about those lawsuits where a parent lets their kid walk somewhere on their own, and then somebody gets into trouble. It's like, I think that's the case. I don't know. Oh, I think I passed. Did I? I don't know. Kind of walked all the way out here. For no reason, that'd be kind of disappointing. Oh, but it's so hard to find. It's just not obvious, at least. 7001. Therefore, yeah. Am I stupid? Maybe. I will say again, like when it comes Yeah. I think Google failed me on today. Well, maybe we actually passed it back there. That would actually make the most sense probably. But next, to finish the PowerPoint. Again, like that. Again, the guy who said it, like the way he wrote it, just like the definitive confidence to it, made it very hilarious and charming. And I don't know, there's probably something to it, right? Like the grass is always greener on the other side. But it's also a bit weird, right? Because like being smart, being appreciated for being smart, and being appreciated for being attractive, like those are both universal priors. Like I want to be smarter or perceived as smarter. I would definitely, or like who wouldn't want to be perceived as smarter or be perceived as more attractive? So I suppose in that sense, the guy has intelligently chosen an argument where he will always be proven right, because that is something that is just always going to be proven right. Very smart, very cunning people who make the arguments where they're by default, they're right. And by default, you can't prove them wrong. We can all learn from that ilk of people. You know. So I do suppose after saying that out loud, the guy's point is not as inquisitive as I originally contemplated. But nevertheless, it is funny. Like I'll be looking at I obviously like a thirst trap, or a girl is clearly like who's more willing to post that type of stuff. It'll be some some like girl boss type. There's one account. It's like Mia Milano or something like that, and she's some I think way more impressive than me. She's like some like neuroscience major or something like that in New York City. So again, like way more accomplished and ambitious than me. But whenever I see her post, it's like, I see what the argument is. I see your points. Okay, I need to. Okay. Just need to navigate how to get out of here, because it's not a clean grid. Like New York City and Philadelphia, excellent planning with a street grid. Here, it's a monstrosity. But I think we will navigate this, because we don't really have a choice not to. Getting kind of hungry. And we shall hack our way out of freshly manicured lawns and avoid tripping over democracy dies in darkness, the bastion of speaking truth to power, as Jeff Bezos clearly changes the editorial board's Overton window. But again, only the bad guys exert things like do things like that. Only the bad hombres, the bad countries would do such thing to compromise the sanctity of such a fundamental principle. Anyways, back to the thirst trap point. So every time I see it, like it does tickle my brain when I see one of those like posts or people who post in that type of way. And it's even doubly funny, because then it's like I'm rationalizing my own consumption of said content by viewing it that way. So it's a double whammy of so I guess at the end of the day, it's a symbiotic relationship. Well, that's a less nice house. So it's a symbiotic relationship at the end of the day, right? Like the influencer wouldn't have influence without people who follow. And all of that. And so it's the type of relationship where everybody gets what they want, but it's still left kind of unsatisfying. And those are the best relationships. Maybe not for marriage, but for mundane ramblings. Okay. I'm not going to raw dog how to get out of here. Yeah, I'm not going to. I will follow the straight and narrow. Actually, with this other part, it will be nice. So we started at Friendship Heights. And so we saw the bastardized urbanism that place is. And so here, we will see another version of that bastardized urbanism elsewhere. Hey man, nice speeding. Running into a stop sign. Again, real preferences, like the real preference of a guy who zigs in and out of traffic, only to end up at the same wall of traffic a minute later. Like, there's a real preference somewhere in that. I'll let you decide what that revealed preference says, because I'm not smart enough on an empty stomach to process that stuff. All I know is I lost money because Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged. And how many people can say that? Unironically, like, not many. So I wear it as a badge of honor in a very depressing sense. That I've lost money. $2.20. I will say, like, the market was going in my favor. Like, the odds of it have gone down. I own the no contracts, so my contracts appreciated. Right? So I was justified in that sense. I was correct. Secondly, last I checked, Travis was a football player. NFL season is going to start. You know? It's like, I don't know anything, but isn't it a bad idea? Like, I guess it'll show my ignorance. There we go. Base. Meant that with sincerity. It is kind of wild how long. Like, I remember, like, in middle school, we were hearing about, like, Sandy Hook and all that, and gun reform stuff. And then here we are today, like, over a decade, like 13 years later, and it's been, like, nothing, really. So I think it does show, I think Taleb has the point about, like, a motivated minority will functionally always win over unconcerned majority. Like, I felt that, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, it's just like how asymmetry can manifest itself in different ways. I do think. So I just was like, point is like, you know, it is nice for people who still like do that stuff. I just suppose it is a bit of a historical relic. Historical relic at this point for gun reform stuff, but you know, you can keep on trying. Keep on trying to do something. Again, back to like the increase the birth rate, pronatal policies. It's like, I don't know. Like the answer is it's not going to be a clean answer. Like most things. Frankly, the easiest solution to the natalism is literally state-mandated girlfriends. You know, like, you know, the government needs to control the means of, it's like a nationalized match group, pay them a 50% premium, you know, and fix the incentives. At the very least, it'll be a nice, and now that the government is full of tech guys, we can do something, you know? Let's rock and roll, Joe Gebbia. Let's rock and roll with the new design department, you know? Let's get stuff done, right? You know, rock and roll, boys. Let's doge things up. Honestly, that would actually be a very fun experiment, and like it wouldn't cost. Like it generally wouldn't cost too much. Like match groups, I don't think it's a levered business. So the EV is equal to market cap. I think its market cap is like in the tens of billions. It's certainly not like 30 billion. As a shareholder, I would know. Of course, I bought at the lows, so I'm an astute shareholder, right? So the government would spend 20 billion. It's like, so let's say you spend 20, let's just do like that'd be 100% markup or premium. But let's just say 20 billion, because I think it's bigger than I think. So you pay 20 billion to nationalize Match Group, and you call it at that. Because maybe this way you can solve some of the adverse incentives that exist for dating apps, right? And you let things run a course. You let the Riz happen. Or you have the 20 billion and you compare that to all the other pro-natal policies you could do, from like child tax credits to, well, I think that's just about the only pro-natal policy you can do. I suppose you could do free childcare. Oh, that does seem, for whatever reason, free childcare is, for whatever reason, like a very left-coded policy. Which is very, like, I don't know. It's like, if pro-natalism is more of a right-coded thing, but, move out the way, bunny. So if pro-natalism is a right-coded policy, and, like, universal childcare is a left-coded policy, I don't know. Seems like a fun discongruence. I do think the one policy lends itself more towards actually fixing a contradiction than the other. But again, what do I know about what tests well at a focus group? We are close, boys.